Hi, Karissa. Well, welcome. Yeah, welcome again. Yeah, welcome back to the Meetup Spot.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Anyways, again, let's see. How are you doing though?
I'm good. Last time we talked, I had just very recently moved to Calgary and just started a new job. So, starting to feel more settled here in the city. And I've been working this job for a few months now. So, just like a lot more settled than I was when we talked before.
Okay. So, so Carissa, how is everything since when we last met?
I think it's good. I mean, right now we're a few days away from Christmas, so I'm mostly looking forward to that. But with work, I think the nice thing for me that I've noticed is that when I first started, it was a dietitian position that just got created. So it was very, very slow when I first started, and then now getting a lot more patients. So I've seen that progress happen in the last few months, which is nice.
Progress in the last few months. So tell me, what was the last few months like?
Well, so with the primary care network that I was working with, they only had one dietitian, and then they hired another one, and then they hired me. So I was like the brand new dietitian. The other two, this was in areas where they already had dietitians working before. So for me, I was starting in an area where they hadn't had anybody to refer dietitians to in the past. So at the very beginning, I was going to work and not seeing any patients at all, and then it would be like one patient, two patients, and now I have a fuller schedule.
Okay. So I guess there's now three dietitians.
Yeah, like we're all in different areas and in different, like I don't know what you would call it, counties, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Carissa, are you thinking of writing another book?
I have been thinking about it. Yeah, it's that's always the tough thing, right? When you're a writer, you're like, I'm going to write something. And then it's a matter of, I guess, just making the time and sitting down to do it. I have a couple weeks off for Christmas. I'm thinking of maybe doing some brainstorming. I would like to write something, but haven't started yet.
Yes, and do you consider yourself writing for Substack? Because yeah, I came across it a few days ago.
Okay.
I've heard that you can make money writing there.
Okay. It's a fiction or is it articles?
Probably honestly, anything you want to write about.
Okay. Yeah, there's lots of ways to self-publish these days, and it's definitely a lot tougher when you self-publish, right? Because you don't have someone marketing for you and promoting for you. But yeah, you said it's called Substack.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can take a look at that. Sounds intriguing.
Okay. Okay. And so I guess you're a fantasy novel fan.
Yeah, I would say that's my favorite, but I do read other stuff too.
Okay. And what kind of fantasy novels do you enjoy?
Mainly, I like a mix of sci-fi and fantasy. Like, I kind of like the genre where um there are elements of technology, but it still has like the medieval feel. Usually in those kinds of books, the plot is like, at first you think that the story is taking place in the past, but actually it's more post-apocalyptic. Like there was some kind of apocalyptic event that happened that ended modern civilization, and then the characters kind of find those scraps of technology and it helps them in certain ways in the plot. I think that's kind of my favorite, where it's a mix of both the sci-fi and the fantasy.
That's nice. That's nice. And okay, Carissa, what does it mean to be an anti-dietitian?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, that could be a little bit nebulous, but to me, it just means we're not focusing on quick fixes. We're more looking at what is sustainable and consistent and what you can actually change in your lifestyle in the long term. So a lot of stuff that you'll see for quick weight loss, and that is usually what people most often see a dietitian for is weight loss. A lot of people want that quick fix, they want that diet, but I focus more on like building long-standing habits. To me, that's what an anti-dietitian is.
Okay.
Anti-diet dietitian.
So you favor progress and over perfection over quick fixes.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that's true.
So how do you think? So why do you think it's important to choose long-term progress over quick fixes?
Well, what I see happen a lot with patients is they saw something online or a friend told them about some kind of diet, right? There's so many things that people try, like juice cleanses, or they only eat meat, or, whatever that fad might be. And they might lose a bit of weight, but then as soon as they start, as soon as they stop doing it, they start gaining weight, and they might even end up at an even higher weight than what they began with. So, I see people do a lot of that up and down and up and down and up and down. Meanwhile, they could develop high blood pressure or high cholesterol or diabetes. So those kinds of habits that can really be really damaging to health. But when we can focus on the sustainable habits, and that's when people can maintain their health in the long term. And I think it's also better for your mental health too, right? To not be up and down all the time.
So as an anti-diet dietitian, what kind of things do you advise your patients commonly?
Yeah, usually it's a lot of stuff that's not exciting. Like a lot of people, they want to completely change their whole life. They want to do things that are very extreme. We want to do the opposite of that. We don't want to do anything too extreme because it's hard to keep it up. And we don't want to change a ton of things at once. Usually I say to people, pick 1 to 3 things to change and just focus on that. And then if you accomplish all those things, you can always set another 1 to 3 goals. But when people totally overhaul their lives, it's really hard to keep up. And if we try things that are extreme, again, we can end up hurting our health. So, it in terms of what specifically we would pick, that would depend on the patient and what their goals are and what feels most doable at that point in their life.
Okay, so honestly, that's an interesting answer to hear, yeah, Carissa.
Yeah.
Okay, you said intuitive eating is not for everyone. Can people give it a shot to see if intuitive eating works for them?
Yeah, you people can try it. I think the main type of person who it's not going to work very well with are people with eating disorders. So
Oh,
if someone has an eating disorder and they have anorexia and they're being really restrictive, it's hard for them to listen to their intuition because their intuition is saying to starve themselves. So they kind of need to go through recovery. Some people with eating disorders cannot really get to the point of intuitive eating. Sometimes they just have to follow an eating plan to make sure that they eat. But I think for a lot of people, they can follow concepts of intuitive eating. The main thing is just intuitive eating encapsulated in like a statement is just listening to your body. So paying attention to when you're hungry, paying attention to when you're full, moving your body in a way that feels good. That's kind of the core of intuitive eating.
okay. So you're saying it doesn't work with people with eating disorders, right?
Yeah.
Or anorexia. So if anyone wants to try out intuitive eating, what should they do to begin?
I think it depends on what area someone is wanting to focus on. I think from like a nutrition perspective, probably the place to start would be the hunger and fullness scale, because a lot of people, when they are hungry, they'll ignore it and then they get to the point of being super duper hungry and then they grab anything they can get their hands on and overeat. That's often what I commonly see people do when I see them in my office. So recognizing that, like, what I call polite hunger, where it's like you definitely feel hungry, but it's not so hungry that you could eat anything. And then also honing in on your fullness too. A lot of people, that's another barrier, is eating past their fullness. So I think the hunger fullness scale could be a good place to start.
The hunger fullness scale is a is the first thing to start. So what can you tell me about that hunger fullness scale?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's in the book on intuitive eating. Like that could be also a place for people to start too, is just reading the book on intuitive eating. Um, but basically the authors rank on a scale from I think 0 to 10, where 0 is like you're so hungry that you're like biting people's heads off. And then as you progress through this scale, I think like a 3 or 4-ish is what they would classify as like a robust hunger, but not over hungry. And then as you would start eating, you would keep going up the scale. And then I think you stop eating at around a 6 or a 7. That'd be like comfortable fullness. And then once you're getting to a 9 or a 10, that's like so full you feel like you could puke.
Okay, okay. So Carissa, I guess you're still working in a primary care network, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Although I came across on a website, you're also part of ADZ. Are you still part of ADZ, or that was an old one?
No, I'm still like they're different positions. Like the ADZ clinic, that's a clinic in Leduc. So
Oh,
kind of doing like some consultations there whenever they're needed. It's more like private practice. And then over here in Calgary, that's what I'm doing as like my main job.
so your main job right now is in Calgary, but you sometimes work at the Leduc one.
Yeah, like I'm open to consults in from Leduc. I would just take appointments virtually, like video calls.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. Got it. So Carissa, what should anyone expect when they walk into a primary care network?
You know what? It's pretty similar to when you have a doctor's visit. Like, the clinics for primary care networks, they're out in the community, just like how different doctors' clinics are in the community. You go in, you check in with the admin there, and then whoever you have your appointment with, they'll call you in. And different primary care networks have different types of healthcare professionals. Like the nurses and dietitians and like mental health therapists are pretty standard, but some primary care networks, they might have physiotherapists, they might have pharmacists. So how your visit goes kind of depends on who you're seeing.
Okay, okay. Carissa, what does the work you do right now mean to you?
You know, I think right now the work I'm doing is very meaningful because I think a lot of people are struggling with their health. So a lot of people are needing that support and they're needing some guidance that they can rely on and know that it's credible information. And so I think the main way that I view myself is that I'm a helper. I'm helping people to achieve the best health that they can.
Okay, got it. And Carissa, it's about to be Christmas time, so what are your tips on eating well this Christmas?
Yeah, I have a few tips that I usually go through with people around the holidays. The main thing is to not try and compensate when you know you have a big Christmas meal coming up. So, if you know you're going to go to a party in the afternoon or evening, then it's really important to not, like some people kind of will skip meals earlier in the day because they say, I'm going to have lots of calories tonight, so I'm not going to have any calories throughout the day. The problem with that is kind of like what we were talking about with the hunger scale is that you'll come to the party super, super hungry, probably going to end up overeating. So, it's important to still have stuff to eat throughout the day, have balanced meals that have a carb, protein, and some produce. And then when you get to the event, my main tip is to take a look at everything that's available first, and then decide what is it that I absolutely have to try. Because usually there's going to be stuff that we're kind of like mixed on, like, it's not too big of a deal if I don't have it, or maybe some stuff we don't really prefer. So decide which are the things I have to absolutely try. Take a sample of each of those things and try it because sometimes we try something and we go, actually, that doesn't taste as good as I thought it was going to taste. So we just take a little sample and then whatever things tasted really good to you, then you can take another portion. That just kind of helps to make sure that um, when you are choosing foods, you're choosing what you really like rather than taking some of everything and then feeling like you have to clear your plate because then you're probably going to end up overeating.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. And Carissa, where do you see dietitians in a few years?
That'll be interesting to see. I think there's certain plans right now for what we call allied health professionals, like people like dietitians and pharmacists and physiotherapists. I think it's possible we might be given more responsibilities because we have so many people, coming to Alberta and we only have so many doctors. And by giving other healthcare providers more responsibilities, like for example, maybe I'll see more patients with diabetes and work with them on adjusting their insulin and all that stuff. That kind of takes a bit of the burden off the doctors so that patients can still be seen. Um, and not have to wait so long to see a physician. So that's a possibility. But I think, like everyone, I'm worried about being replaced by AI. So I guess we'll see.
Okay. Oh, wait. Are you worried that you're going to be replaced by AI?
Well, I think that, like, in the past, the emphasis was really on, if you want a stable job, to get specialized knowledge so that you're one of a small number who have that special knowledge, and so you're valuable. But now with AI, there's ways for anybody to access knowledge. And so then it's like, how do I stay relevant? How do I stay competitive? It's something I've thought about, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay. And interestingly, this is probably another short episode again. I guess we could end this with a quick fire. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, here we go. Not here we go. All right, Carissa. One word to describe yourself.
Fierce.
Oh wow. What is your best nutrition tip?
Eat lots of veggies. Ideally, half your plate at meals.
Got it. One everyday item you can't leave without.
Probably my water bottle.
Okay. Best lesson you learned in being a dietitian.
Everyone has an interesting story.
Okay. Bluey fan, yes or no?
No, I don't know much about Bluey, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Best place in Alberta to go road tripping.
Anywhere around the mountains, I would say.
Oh. Your favorite Christmas food to cook.
Stuffing is probably my favorite holiday dish.
Okay. Best food to get at Singapore Sam's.
Sweet and sour chicken or ginger beef.
Ginger beer. Ooh. Hot chocolate or eggnog.
Hot chocolate.
Okay. Christmas movies or music.
It's close, but I would say Christmas movies.
So what kind of Christmas movies do you like?
I was just watching Die Hard this morning, so I
Oh.
like that one. But I do love Elf and like the Ron Howard's version of The Grinch.
Oh.
Um yeah, I like a lot of different. I'm even down sometimes for, the sappy Netflix Christmas movies too, right? It all helps you get in the spirit.
All right. Okay, I guess this is it. Let's do the screenshot.
Sure.
All right, thank you, Carissa. This is the last episode for 2025.
Nice. Well, I hope you enjoy the holidays and have a great New Year's.
Okay. Okay, before we end, any two things. Any feedbacks or comments?
No, I think you have good questions. I think that we kind of went through them pretty quick. So maybe we could, like with your other guests, when you ask a question, you can always use their answer to continue the conversation instead of going to the next question, maybe chatting a bit about that answer for a few minutes.
Got it. Got it. So Carissa, anywhere our viewers can find you?
So people can find me on Instagram. My username is Splendorous Celiac. So Splendorous, and then celiac, Celiac. So you can find me there on Instagram. You can find me just by my first and last name, Karissa Giraldi, on Facebook, and I am on Twitter as well, LinkedIn, all sorts of places. I have a blog called The Splendorous Celiac as well.
All right. So I guess again, thank you, Carissa.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right.